I think that makes sense to bring it back as a package, all the.
I will move to approve the removal of old policies and adoption of new ARs and BPs, except for AR 5111.1 and board policy, see now it's out of my head, 5144.1. So there.
And I will second.
Oh.
Annette.
Ms. Perdue.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Very good. And now we get to hear. I see we have some folks
They're all
here in the
in the back
audience.
of the
so
room.
Thank you. You're welcome to come forward if you'd like, but we really appreciate your being here. And Ms. Zawoski, do you want to start us off on our
will.
report on the elementary and secondary school counseling grant?
Very excited to have all these folks here tonight, and Nancy Rank, our program director. I know everyone's been getting written material, and you've gotten, kind of updates along the way with our grant that we were awarded in October. And Nancy's here to introduce the staff and tell you a little bit about the progress of the grant so far.
Great. So thank you, Madam President and board members and Dr. Cash, and that we can be here tonight. So yes, you can see on your agenda, this is the elementary and secondary schools counseling grant. But locally, we're calling ourselves CARE, Counseling Alliance and Resources for Elementary. And the alliance piece coming, do I need to do that? Yeah, that would make more sense, wouldn't it? Yeah. And then you're trying to interpret for me. Our alliance with Family Service Agency and the Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse, having counselors and social workers in these 4 elementary schools. So it is a 3-year grant. It was awarded in the fall, but we really just got rolling with it in January. So we do hope to, at some point, ask for a no-cost extension and $400,000 per year for the grant. And our basic goals then are to expand the elementary school counseling programs, improving the social, emotional, behavioral, cognitive functioning for kids, and reducing aggressive and disruptive behaviors, and see a reduction in disciplinary referrals. So we are at Adams, Cleveland, Franklin, and McKinley. So this would be a great time that I could actually introduce these teams of people. So why don't you just stand up and I'll just say who you are and what role you serve. So you can just all stand up and I can introduce you all then. So, okay. So Christine McReynolds is one of our social workers. So we have 2 social workers serving all 4 school sites. They're half-time at 2 schools. Eliana Preciado is with Family Service Agency at Franklin. Natalie Garcia is with Family Service Agency at Adams. Maria Munoz is with Family Service Agency at at McKinley. Megan McClintock is a Youth and Family Program Manager at Family Service Agency, overseeing folks there. Jamie Huffsing is from the Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse at McKinley. Catherine Van Nostren is with the Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse at Cleveland, and Shireen Katapouche is our Youth Services System Director from the Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse. And then, Nika Garcia is our other social worker, serving 2 of the schools and overseen at Family Service Agency. Patty Mahata is at Adams School from Family Service Agency, and Jesus Campos is at Franklin School from Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse. So they're so dedicated that they would come tonight and be here, so we really appreciate that. In addition, you can see them, we all are also working in a team with the family advocates at each of the sites as well, so that we can have more outreach to the families. And we do meet regularly as teams to try to coordinate our services and our efforts to reach the students and their families. There are 4 basic components to the grant and our project. So number 1 is the individual and small group counseling. So we've increased the counseling staff at the school sites to work with the children with identified issues. And our goal is to reach 300, to work with 300 students per year. And then the second component of the grant in our project is family support. So We want to involve the families of the children that are being seen in counseling more directly in the treatment, asking them for input regarding what the needs of their child are, as well as letting them know what the counselor is working on with their child. And our social workers are able to go into the home and actually help implement some of those strategies within the home itself. And so our goal then is that all of the families of the children who are in counseling would have some contact, either a home visit from the social worker or meeting with the social worker at the school site, or some involvement with the family advocate. And they can also, of course, refer them to community resources that can help support the family under stress. We are not yet this year starting with this piece, but we will be doing a larger prevention education, and we will roll that out in the next couple of years in the grant to provide education beyond the students who are in the counseling, small group and individual counseling, provide them with, and not all students, but 900 you can see over the course of the grant, with some social skills training, some skills in handling emotional and behavioral issues. And we're working with the AOK project and the staff there to try to implement there for sure. We won't be trying to do this within the classroom setting. So it'll be pull out small groups, perhaps groups at lunch, that kind of thing. And then the fourth component is teacher training. So again, helping teachers to be aware of issues so they can identify students who would be good candidates for counseling, as well as working with them in kind of a coaching and consultation role to look at some strategies that they could implement in the classroom as intervention for children with various mental health and behavioral issues. So that is happening in ongoing teacher training that we're doing, as well as just promoting ourselves and being available to teachers. So our Government Performance and Results Act measures that the grant says that we will accomplish are to improve the ratio of counselors to students. And so we've already done that with hiring them, bringing them on, so we can check that one off already. And then the second one is to reduce disciplinary referrals by 25% over the course of the grant. So we have faced some challenges as we've gotten started. The space is always an issue at the school sites to find, and particularly we need a confidential space for counselors to work with children. But the principals have been very accommodating, the school staffs have been accommodating, the family service agency people who were already there could have been very territorial, but they've been very accommodating as well, and folks have been flexible about the space that they use. We know that it's been a challenge to begin in the middle of the school year. There were some counseling processes already in place, and we've brought in some new assessment and having the social workers come in to work with the families as well. And so that it's just been a challenge to try to organize that. Though I know Mike Vail at Cleveland has said that this was an advantage for us to, rather than have like all summer to plan and have this lovely idea and then try to make that work, we just plowed right into it and then have to make it work. So we do have an evaluation component to the grant, and part of that will be use of the behavior assessment system for children as a way to evaluate our counseling services. And so we've had to continue to look at exactly how we'll use that instrument. It's a rather lengthy instrument for teachers and parents. Gives great information, but we're still working with our evaluation team and figuring out the best way to use that. And the curriculum that was written into the grant to be used for that prevention education component was the Providing Alternative Thinking Strategies, or PATHS curriculum. And in the time between the time that the grant was written and the time we began implementation, the PATHS people had greatly enhanced their product, but also the price was greatly enhanced. And what they did with it really went beyond what we needed for our purposes. So we're looking at other curriculum at this time. And then another challenge has been the documenting of disciplinary referrals, that we're finding the information that we have, it's laughing, that there's a great discrepancy from site to site as how those disciplinary referrals are defined and then documented as well. And so we have inconsistency there, but I know that's being addressed. So great progress. Since January, the FSA counselors have been moved up to 40 hours, and the full-time counsel on alcoholism and drug abuse counselors have begun work, as well as the social workers. And over 200 children have been seen in individual or small group counseling since January. So if we have a full school year, we see that we should be able to see 300 children. And over 110 families have had contact from a family advocate and or the social worker. And we have begun using this assessment tool to determine needs. And as I said before, we're working with AOK staff and looking at that as a great place to be able to implement the prevention education. I've completed 2 of the teacher trainings and have the other 2 scheduled. And we're working with the district staff on this issue of the disciplinary referrals, and so we'll be anxious to see how that all falls out, but we know that that'll be great to have that consistency there. And then we've been working with our evaluators at UCSB in how to best document what we're doing and evaluate that in a way that's simple but yet meaningful. So if you have any questions, I'm glad to try to answer those.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for coming, and thank all of you for what you're doing, because this is such a boon to our district to have this. Board members, do you have any questions, Mrs. Parker?
I'm just going to chime in with thanks, because you're working with our most emotionally needy children, and I mean, I want to say thank you for helping us get this grant into place, first of all, but just thanks for the work that you do every single day, because I know that that's got to be emotionally challenging for all of you. And I have faith that we will see a difference for our students because of the work that you're doing. So, thank you.
Mrs. Cordero? Oh, I'm sorry.
I
thought
really
maybe you were
didn't have any questions, but I'll certainly chime in with the thank you. Our students, I know, can only benefit from this grant and the work that you're all doing with them. So, I just think that you're kind of our angels in our schools for as Ms. Parker said, some of our most emotionally needy students, and they need angels. So thank you.
Ms. Limon?
And I think besides the thank you that you heard, I want to add the thank yous, but I also feel that this is a very important time for a district, because we are rethinking how we work with students who have discipline offenses of sorts. So I think that it's even more important that we start at the elementary school by providing services to actually remedy some of the situations that may be causing some of these discipline offenses. But I'm very happy that it's happening at a time where our district is actually rethinking discipline as a whole, and I'm very thankful to have you in our schools and that our students have you there too.
Thank you. And just to piggyback on that, I really like the fact that we're trying to establish this baseline about documenting the discipline referrals, so everyone's on the same page, and that will be really helpful as we move forward with our restorative justice and discipline. Mrs. Sawatsky wants to say something.
I want them to know that all of our social workers and counselors and all that, when we meet, Nancy and I meet regularly with the principals of the schools, they are just beaming. They absolutely love you. They said all the teams are just amazing. They're so happy to have you there, and they can count on you for so much, and their only concern is what's going to happen when the grant runs out. So we're already thinking ahead, how can we kind of get this going, because it's just a wonderful model. And also thank you to Nancy. She just stepped right in and got it going, and it's just so professionally done and effective. It's amazing. We definitely got the right staff in place.
That's really good to hear. I did have one quick question about the when. When does the counseling occur with students?
Yeah, so you guys can answer this better than I, but.
And actually, if any of you'd like to kind of tell us what a day in the life looks like, so we could kind of visualize how it actually works.
you guys can jump in. I'll start and you can correct me. They do pull students out of class. They work with the teachers to try to find the best time where they miss a minimum of the things that are most critical for the student. So that there's just no way that they can see all the students that need to be seen and not pull kids out of class. It's just not possible. Some students are seen after school times. I know some people are able to do that. I don't know, is anybody seeing during, it's hard to pull children from recess. It's, that can be a good time, but a lot of these children really need that time too, and don't do well if they return to class without having had recess. So, any other things that you say about that?
Most of the teachers are pretty happy. I mean, there's not, I haven't come across a lot of resistance as far as pulling them out.
Uh-huh.
Yes, please.
How long would a session last? I mean, how long typically would you spend with a student?
I think everybody probably has maybe a different approach or style. I tend to do 45 minutes to an hour, but with the younger kids, it doesn't usually last that long. Their attention span
Yeah,
is
some just half an hour, I think. Yeah.
Mr. Herron?
I'm curious, how do you choose the 300 that you hope to work for?
Right. Most of them are from teacher referrals. Sometimes parents will pursue a referral themselves, but most of them are from teachers, from what they see in their classroom, what they hear from parents about students. The principals will refer. Sometimes the SST teams will make a referral.
I'm also happy to see some uniformity in the referral process. One of your goals was to reduce it by 25%. Is that 25% school-wide or 25% of this 300 students? You have a baseline for those 300?
That's a good question.
Trying to reduce it by 25%?
No, it's for the schools. Because of the fact of the full components of the grant, it's to look at for all the schools to reduce the disciplinary referrals by 25%, right? Because there's a preventive component and trying to, there are situations too where parents don't give us permission to see their children, but we'd still be able to work with teachers on strategies that they might be able to try to implement for those students. So,
At some point, will there be a baseline in numbers, not just percentages? In other words, 25% of what is what? I mean,
Right.
I sometimes you'd have a survey of 100 people, and 25%, or you have a survey of 10 people. It's a big difference.
absolutely.
And so I'd be curious sometime to see the hard numbers.
Right, yeah, we'll try to get that for you then. That'd be good.
Mrs. Cordero?
I was just wondering, since you were talking about, doing a pull-out situation, and sometimes, I think you said with the 900, there might be like small groups or things like that. I was wondering, do you perceive that there's any stigma for the students involved in being participants in this? And if you have seen that, is there, what are some of the things that you do to address that?
Do any of you want to speak to this? Good.
I'm sorry, but I apologize, but in order for us to hear you on the tape, that when we tape this, we have to speak into a, we can bring it over there and you can speak from over there if you'd like. Thank you.
Some of the things that I do as a counselor at Adams School is if the student is in 6th grade, I let them come on their own, so I don't go to their classroom. So sometimes they'll say, well, where are you going? Oh, I have an extra class that I attend. And so it maintains their confidentiality. And a lot of the kids like to come too, so they think it's like an extra perk.
The younger kids.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you again for coming. We really value what you do, and we look forward to hearing more about the
Great.
progress.
Great.
One more question?
Oh, Mr. Herron.
How many
sorry.
are bilingual? Good, thank you very much.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we are almost exactly on time. We do not need to return to any consent agenda items. Coming events, I think we've probably taken care of those already. And hopefully some of us can get out to some of those school performances that are coming right up. Future agenda items? I don't see any, so with that, we will adjourn.